Okay, so quick out of the theater review for Kraven the Hunter. So, I actually kind of like this movie. I haven't really looked into why people seem to be hating it. Don't know if it's one of those, oh, well, it's not like the comics, or like just one of those situations where people wanting to pick the hell out of everything in a movie. Don't know which one of the two is really happening here, although I do see that a lot of people don't like it. Personally, I even had a little bit of fun with Madam Web, but I saw somebody earlier say that this movie's worse than Madam Web, and like, no. Like, even then, I think I have to give the edge to Madam Web, as much as I do say sometimes that I had slight enjoyment of that movie. But no, I found this movie pretty fun. There's, like, things about it that are kind of dumb. I mean, like, you can definitely nitpick if you want to be that person. The fact that, like, the version of the Rhino we get here isn't very comic accurate, and again, looks kind of dumb, but, like, what else did you really want him to look like? So, yeah, but in terms of, like, the actual Kraven we get in this, I like him. Again, most comic accurate? Probably not. My knowledge of Kraven is not great in terms of my comic knowledge, but probably not. But again, I do like the Kraven we get in this regardless, so if you just can put aside how comic accurate it is, I don't see how you can't have some fun with it. Again, you can be the person that wants to nitpick everything, and like a couple things that definitely are off at times in the movie are like its cinematography is obviously not the greatest. It's often pretty bland in terms of its background. Now again, if you're not trying to be the person that just sit and nitpick, there's a lot of times where like enough's going on that I'm not really sitting there trying to stare at the background, so that doesn't really kill the movie for me. Also, I did notice a few moments of bad ADR, and I'm noticing those more often ever since people were talking about how bad the ADR in Madam Web was, and like that's definitely one of the parts of the film that I will always agree is pretty terrible. But yeah, there's definitely some moments I think of bad ADR in this as well, so there's that. But like, all that aside, a few dumb things here and there. Overall, I kind of like the story. I like the version of Kraven we get. I like the villains to some extent. I wish I could say that I like what this movie sets up as a possible sequel, but it kind of sounds like, from what I've heard, this is going to be the last movie Sony's doing with Spider-Man characters. So I guess maybe we won't get that. I don't know. I've been kind of seeing people saying they're like taking a break from it, so I don't know if it's like confirmed that it's really just a break and they plan on coming back with more, if it's one of those things where it's like it's a break but like they might just never make another one. So yeah, I do not know, but like I said, if there's any hope for a sequel to this film, I think out of all the ones they've tried to do, except for obviously the Venom movies which already got sequels, I feel like this one has the best setup for a sequel. In fact, I feel like if this did get a sequel, it would probably be the best film they've done with like Spider-Man characters so far. Like, the way this film sets up a possible sequel, I would imagine that I would like it more than any of the Venom movies even. So, like I said, don't know what people are ever thinking when they're trying to call a movie like this the worst movie of the year, because there are definitely worse movies out there, regardless of some of your opinions. But yeah, I mean, as far as, to me, I actually had quite a bit of fun with this movie, and it's far from the worst movie for me of the year. It's out of about 124 new movies I've seen so far this year, so yeah, I don't know. Sometimes, again, somebody picks a movie that is, like, objectively just not that bad and goes, oh, this is the worst movie of the year. I kind of sit there and wonder, okay, so how many movies have you seen this year? Which, I don't know, that's not always necessarily the greatest thing to say, because on the one hand, it's like, even if they say 50, it's like, I mean, if they think it's the worst out of those 50, that doesn't necessarily mean it's good, so I don't know that that really makes my point. But still, it's just the fact that, I mean, if they've seen a decent amount, that's fine, but I feel like some people, if you ask them, might be like, oh, I've seen 10 movies this year. It's like, okay, well, that's the worst one out of 10, so, but yeah, like I said, I haven't really, like, reviewed this one on Letterboxd and put it in my ranking yet. But again, I think by the time I put the 3 I'm watching today on there, I will be at 124. And yeah, I don't imagine it's going to be in like the bottom 20 or 30. But I guess we'll see. I feel like I liked it more than, like I already said, Madam Web, liked it more than that. And you know what? I honestly think maybe I even liked it more than Deadpool and Wolverine. I was kind of big on that movie when I first watched it, but like thinking about it a little bit more, it's kind of not really aged the greatest in my head. So, I mean, I almost maybe would say it'd be good to do a rewatch to maybe compare the two again. Oh, and that's the other one that came out this year. I was almost forgetting the Venom movie. So, Venom Last Dance, they might be kind of neck and neck. I don't know. I feel like Venom Last Dance kind of backpedaled for me on some stuff as far as the Venom movies go. I mean, like, overall, I feel like it felt a little bit like a stronger movie, but it's just, I hated that they had a better villain with Carnage in the second one. And they're like, hey, we're going to be kind of lame with our villain again. Even though they do have a cool villain in the background, but they're not the main villain. So it still is kind of a downgrade in regards to that. So I don't know. Those are maybe neck and neck if I was trying to rank those. So yeah, again, I thought it was actually pretty fun. But I guess that's just me.